On Saturday, the Senate voted to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, setting the stage for gays to serve openly in the military. I know what you're thinking. Congress worked on a Saturday? And though President Obama plans to sign the bill this week, questions remain about the impact of the change and how it will be implemented. Here now to discuss this are Steve Wilkos, host of the Steve Wilkos Show and a former United States Marine, and David Hall, a former United States Air Force Staff Sergeant who was discharged under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Welcome, guys, to the show.
Thank you.
Now, David, you were discharged under Don't Ask. What does the repeal mean to you?
Well, you know, the repeal means to me that, you know, if that I could go back into the Air Force, I could wear the uniform again, and, you know, all my friends that are currently serving that are gay or lesbian, you know, now they're not going to have to worry about losing their job. That, you know, if they want to be out, they can be, but, you know, majority of them probably are still not going to go around telling everybody, but at least they can wake up knowing, hey, I'm not, you know, I'll still have a job tomorrow.
Do you want to go back?
I do.
You do want to go back? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to serve 20 years when I went in. I grew up a military brat, so, you know, I love the Air Force.
You did. Steve, what do you think about the repeal?
Well, I'm glad. I mean, it's something that should happen no matter what your preference is. If you want to serve in the military and, you know, serve this country, I think you should be able to. The only thing I think, I worry about the people that are going to come out, because the culture, at least it was in the Marine Corps, is, I would say, anti-gay. When I went through recruit training, a lot of the training process you go through, if you were a non-hacker, which you couldn't make the run or you couldn't do certain things up to the Marine Corps standards, you were called, you know, gay slurs.
Yeah.
And you see that in the movies, and the movies portray real life, and that's what happens. And even though I think it's a good thing that's going to happen, I do think that it's going to open up some problems and some issues. And they're probably going to have to deal with it just like they had to when they opened up integration into the military in World War II.
It took a while.
It takes a while, and there's going to be some bumps, but you're going to have to deal with it.
This was after World War II, 1948, Truman.
Like in the Korean War was the first where
That's right.
But they started letting troops in.
And they lived with it, and now everybody's fine with it.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't expect to repeal this and that it's just going to go smoothly and everybody's going to come out. No, there's going to be some issues, and I think some of the culture in the service is going to have to change so gays can be accepted.
Yes. David, let's talk about the day-to-day lives of these guys and girls, women also. How is it going to change, let's say, on the battlefield, in the barracks? What's going to happen? Like you said, they're not going to suddenly come out and say, I'm gay. No one's going to do that. People are just going to continue to be in the military.
That's correct. I mean, the one thing is, you know, gays and lesbians are already serving in the military. There's, you know, about 66,000 that are currently in. And actually, there's a few of them that are already out to their, you know, to the people that they work with. And, you know, and they've had no issues. I have friends that are out, you know, to their comrades, and they said, you know what, no one cares. And when I was discharged, all my friends were shocked. One, that I was gay, but then two, that, you know, that the one female who was our friend had ratted me out. They were, you know, pissed off at her, and then was wondering, like, we still kick people out, you know, for being gay.
Why would she do that? Why did she do that?
You know, I don't really know. I really think it was sort of a way to get back at me, but then also to save herself. She wasn't a really good cadet, and I think this was a way to be like, well, you know, you have these gay people to deal with, leave me alone.
That's interesting, because it was something that people could use against you. You know?
Right.
And, I was reading David's resume back there. It's quite impressive. And that's the thing. It's, well, why wouldn't we want a guy like David serving in our armed forces? And so now that it's opened up, it can't be used against you. But again, I just think the biggest thing that's going to have to change in the military is the culture of you know, accepting of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Not everybody was so in favor of this. Let's watch John McCain speaking the other day.
We are doing great damage, and we could possibly and probably, as the Commandant of the Marine Corps said, and I've been told by literally thousands of members of the military, harm the battle effectiveness, which is so vital to the support, to the survival of our young men and women in the military.
David, what's up with McCain?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't really know what's up with him. I think maybe he's still mad about losing the election. But, you know, the Commandant of the Marine Corps came out yesterday with a statement saying, you know what, Congress has passed this law. And like he said, you know, during the hearings, that they would step out forward. He would do, they would do this smartly. Him and the sergeant major are going to lead on this, and they're going to show that the Marine Corps, can deal with this issue and will do it better than anybody else.
Well, this is one of the most significant civil rights legislation in our memory, isn't it?
But I just watching it with John McCain, and it's almost unbelievable that somebody would come out and make that kind of statement that this is going to be harmful, this is going to be damaging.
It's so sad.
It's almost so big, and I'm sure there was a politician 50 years ago saying the same thing about integrating.
Absolutely.
So it's shocking
and
at this day and age.
history shows that they look ridiculous.
Right, and unfortunately he's going to look ridiculous too.
Right. Okay, thank you very much, guys.